Felicity Nicole. Great conversation with Felicity. She's an author, she's a speaker. She makes no she talks about her childhood and how traumatic it was, and seeing her father almost kill her mother, and what it did to the family, and how she's able to rebound through multiple marriages and through all this negativity, and where she is now with a thriving son. It's just a great story, and she's very open. We talk about motherhood. We talk about learning to forgive, rewriting the rules of forgiveness. I wonder how you feel about that. And she's very unapologetic about her growth as well. And she continues to rise. Wonderful conversation with Felicity Nicole. I'm so happy we did it. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. So excited to speak to you, Felicity Nicole. Describe your relationship with the cello.
Yes. We met back in 2023, maybe.
Oh,
And when I just wanted a new hobby. I like to challenge my brain. And so when I picked it up, it felt like me.
hmm.
Like I felt like I belonged to her at some point.
Hmm.
And then when I hired my music teacher, who was like a complete like deadhead, like I loved Michelle. She was great. She's like this deadhead that would come in with these wild, crazy tie-dyed pants. And I can't, because maybe it's from my dyslexia, but I can't read the music, but I'm more organic. Like I can just, she plays it, I can do it. If I
Hmm.
listen to it, I can play it and I can pick up the notes. So it's similar to dancing because because I also take dance classes. My teacher Adrian will be like, okay, where's your beat? Where's your beat? Come on, get your rhythm. You're Hispanic. Let's go. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, let me listen. I can't count 1, 2, 3. I just have to go with the flow. Yeah. But I love it. It challenges your brain. It makes you think because you have to think, you're using your fingers, I mean, multiple parts. It's, and I still play like a kindergartner, but I don't care.
Right.
It brings me peace.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow. I played a musical instrument as well, and it's structured, but I like the ability to kind of go off track a bit. But you mentioned dancing. Now I like to dance too, but I haven't taken formal dancing. I just like to dance, listen to the music, and just feel it. So it's a bit more, I guess you want to say, artistic. So there's really no wrong way to do it. But you're talking about more structured dancing in a particular time pattern, etc. So it's a bit more structured. So I could see the two parallels there.
Yes. Yeah. And it's flow. To me, dance
Mm.
is, so it's, to be honest with you, Joey, it's the only thing, in the entire world so far that I found that will clear my head. Once
Mm.
I hit that dance floor, especially with the Venetian waltz, you can't think. You just have to flow, because once you think, that's where you're going to mess up.
Mm.
And it is, if I could go every day for at least an hour, 2 hours, it's the only thing that clears my head.
Wow.
Yes, all that static, all that noise that we hear, because I'm an overthinker,
Yeah.
it just clears my head, because you can't think when you're on the dance floor. You just have to go with the you have to just go with the movement, the flow, the beat, that
Hmm.
just whatever. No, I love
And
it.
why the Venetian waltz?
It's art. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
It really is. Yeah, I'm
And
sorry.
whenever you hear it, you just get in that zone?
Yes. Yes. And when you have a good partner that you can trust, I apologize. I'm sorry. We'll cut all that. I'm sorry. When you have a good partner that you can trust,
Mm.
because they're supposed to lead,
Mm.
it's it's just beautiful. It's magical.
Hmm.
To me, it's magical because you're almost like floating across the dance floor, because you're almost skipping. You're very light on your toes. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe it's the inner princess in me that just wants to come out.
And what how long have you had this relationship with dance like that where it clears your mind?
2 years.
Oh, so it's relatively new.
It is, yeah. It's 2 years. They want me to compete. I think I've done maybe one competition,
Mm.
like a local competition, and it was, and then my life kind of took like a change. Life
Yes.
happens, and I had to kind of put that on the back burner for a while. But I'm just getting back into it, and it's fun. Yeah.
But it's important to have those outlets just as human beings. We can't just go, go, go all the time.
No, we can't. And so you're exactly right. Those outlets, and wherever people can find those, whether it's meditation, walking, listening to a podcast. I like to work out, so I at least have to get into the gym once a day. Um, I think just being mindful, though, and present too,
Mm.
if you think about it, I've noticed is one thing that at least I noted I was lacking this past year, being stuck in my head.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Tough place to be because when you're there and it's hard to step out. It's a meditation helps me in that, just kind of separating yourself from your thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We're our inner critic, I've noticed, and our biggest cheerleader at the same time,
Hmm.
you know? Yeah.
So you're very open about your childhood. You witnessed your father almost killing your mother, and there was a separation
Yes.
there, very traumatic. But you talk a lot about forgiveness.
I do. I do. Yeah, I do. I don't know how else to explain being like, I suffered like my
Hmm.
entire life up until like this, if you want to say like this year with my second divorce, that was like the
Wow.
rug being pulled out from underneath me. Um, to have such a painful life like I have, emotionally, physically, and mentally, and to be able to see those who are supposed to have loved you the most and supported you the most, which would be your mom, your dad, your siblings, your
Hmm.
husband.
Hmm.
So I happen to have z on the ends of that. um, they've all abandoned me, every
Hmm.
single one of them, during the most pivotal points in my life.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, it was getting to the root with my therapy team and really understanding the why behind. Why did my mom turn her back on me when I told her I was pregnant with my son at the age of 29? I'm an adult. Why did she? And when I understood that this is like generational trauma, it was the
Hmm.
way that she was raised and the way that her mom was raised, because she was it just, you can't place the blame on one person. And it just helps release that, the power, the control,
Hmm.
it's not what we're meant to do. We're not meant to hold grudges. Christ didn't teach us that. Christ taught us about love. And I write in my first book, Pieces of Me, my dad's story is one of the most beautiful stories on redemption. My dad was an enforcer for the mafia on the side.
Wow.
Um, and he was gone out of our lives for like 12, 13 years. And when he came back into our lives, he didn't raise us, he didn't see us grow, but he had the opportunity to give his life over to God and to the church and to his grandkids. And he did as much as he could to try to maybe rehab the relationship with my mother. But I don't blame her for having the walls up that she did. But he had such a wonderful part too to his life. And I know that there might have been maybe some resentment for maybe my other siblings that they really didn't share with me, but maybe had against my father because we were all raised differently. Um, I just know that I'm happy that he was able to enjoy his grandkids.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's hard to say to be able to forgive somebody like that. It's hard to say to be
Yes.
able to forgive your abuser, like my first husband, you know. I love him. I wouldn't want to be married to him. But yeah, I totally forgive him. He's got an awesome son, you
Hmm.
know. Yeah.
You were writing the rules on forgiveness. So the rules now are, I don't know what they are. You can forgive, but you can't forget, but you need to forgive and forget. It's
I don't think we're gonna
what's the
forget.
song?
It's
Sorry seems to be the hardest word.
yeah.
Um, so how do you approach forgiveness? How do you help people forgive? It's a big task, Felicity.
It is. And it's a part of the grieving process.
Mm,
You know, so once you move past that anger and kind of talk it through and maybe give it some space, you know, it's not an overnight thing, Joey. Let's be
mm,
real about it. You know, you're going to get angry. The south side of me is going to come out. I've got that Latina in me that she's going to come out. And then you're going to sit with it. You're probably going to hold yourself accountable. At least I do, right? And apologize for how, not for the emotion, right?
hmm.
But for the words that you use. Let's just break it down like that. I never apologize for my feelings, but maybe for the way that I delivered the
Ah,
message.
ah.
But then I think as you push through some of those other emotions, which is the anger, the disappointment, the feeling of being betrayed. There's been a lot of betrayal in my life.
Hmm.
Um, and just understand that it's really about them and it doesn't have anything to do with me.
Mm.
I've come to this place. I don't know if it's like I don't give I just don't give a fuck
Good for
anymore. I'm
you.
sorry. I
Yeah.
just I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
okay, buddy, that's fine. That's great. That's how you feel. Fantastic. I wish you the best. Like
Hmm.
I've come to this, yes, it's so weird, but it's like I don't want to say I don't care, but I just am not personalizing a lot anymore.
Hmm. Yeah. 2 points about that. One is that how people feel about me is none of my business. I, I I think when you make that distinction, that separation, like you say, it's not that you don't care. It's just, and the other point that you made that I want to talk about is that oftentimes we say things like, "Well, what did the person say?" or "What was said?" And I like to say, "Well, what did you hear?" Because what they said isn't as important as what you heard, because
Mhm.
intention can be, misleading. But you brought out those 2 points in your own way as well. Thoughts?
Absolutely, because and you bring up a fantastic point, and I want to go on that. What you may say and what I may hear may
Right.
be coming from the wounded part of myself,
Mm.
hearing something different. You may say, you know what, Felicity, we're not vibing. I wish you all the best. We're going to go our separate ways.
Mm.
And that wounded 15-year-old's going to be like, oh man, I was just fucking rejected. I was just
Wow.
rejected again. Just rejected again. When am I ever going to be chosen?
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, but I've done that inner work to understand, like, okay, that's not the way it is. It's just exactly what he said. We're just not clicking, you know? And it's like, all right, peace out. I love you. I wish you the best, you know?
Important distinction there, but hard for some to get over.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've had some interesting conversations and some interesting letdowns that you can identify when people are just operating from a different part of themselves, which I
Mm.
call those archetypes, those wounded, those wounded aspects of ourselves that aren't fully healed, that shine. We all have it.
And when you have a friend or a loved one, Felicity, that is just hearing things that you don't mean, that you don't intend to say, how do you address that? How do you talk about that? Because sometimes it's not talked about, and then it's buried, and then it comes up days later. How do you approach that? How do you improve communication so you're saying what you mean, and they're listening to what you mean?
I think it all depends on the moment, right?
Mm,
Because life can get in the way and we could just kind of blow from the seat of our hot-headed pants.
mm,
But if you, at least for me, I really am practicing like intentional communication,
mm.
and it's really improved a lot of my friendships to the point to where I will even have to, if we're going to have a conversation, it's so strange, but it's like, hold on, let me give you a pen and paper because my memory is just so scattered sometimes, just so I can understand what they're saying when there is a
Mm,
conflict coming up. Um, but in those moments of, if I'm answering your question properly, in those moments of, oh shit, I didn't mean to say it that way,
right.
that's where you just kind of have to circle back and hold yourself accountable. And it's not that hard to do. Just be like, you know what? I didn't mean to say it that way. I apologize. If it came off a little harsh or a little mean or um, not supportive enough,
Mm,
you know, it's all about accountability.
yes. And it can be difficult, not with all my friends, but there are a couple of friends when, I find myself, I like to think I'm a good listener, but I find myself occasionally saying, well, they'll say something, well, this is really weird. And and then I'll say, I have question-based learning, Felicity, and it can be very annoying to some. That's how I learn. But I say, okay, you mean weird like it's odd or peculiar, or it's weird like it doesn't belong? So then I start, I start drilling down. Like, what do you mean by that? And it could be frustrating, not to all, but a couple. It's like, Joe, you asked so many questions. It's just weird. Leave it alone. You know.
Just drink your beer, damn it. I get it. Yes, I do. I have friends like that too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It's you're a thinker. You're an
Yeah.
observer. You want to
Mm,
know where the why is coming from. I don't get it. I mean, I don't blame you, but a lot of people don't get it.
yeah.
We're so like surface based, and we're also so distracted.
Mm,
I don't know if we realize like what really comes out of our mouth the majority of the time.
that's right.
You know.
And I've had to do that, and they repeat what I said. So, oh my god, poor choice of words. Please let me rephrase. You're
Oh
just
yeah.
human. Sometimes it comes out. You talk about unapologetic in your growth. Now, why would you have to apologize for your growth?
Oh, that was the old version of me,
Uh,
right? That was the old version of me would be like, I'm sorry for saying this, but I'm sorry for bothering you. If you have a moment, I'm sorry for, do you understand? That was
mm,
like still learning to grow. I felt like we have to think, the way I was raised, I wasn't raised with any direction or any sort of understanding of how a woman should operate, how a girl should grow into a woman. I had to learn all this on my own, how you should do life. Had to learn this all on my own. So on my journey throughout life, I was a people pleaser. So it was hard to break that. Yeah, totally hard to break that people pleasing. And then I got thrown into with my second husband. I got thrown into I don't know how else to say it, but just like the system of wealth,
hmm,
like just this very white privileged world of Stepford wives.
hmm.
And you have to look a certain way and you have to behave a certain way. And we don't speak like that. And we only do surface based conversations. And I'm like, whoa. And that's when my eyes opened up and I was like, this isn't me at all. Like, and that's when I started to not apologize for speaking my mind.
Hmm.
Yes, really growing into the woman who I am today.
I always, of course, being a male, I'm not privy to the Stepford Wives situation, but I mean, what I know from a surface level is just, yeah, very surface and very, insincere and
It's
plastic.
transactional.
Yeah,
Just all
transactional.
it's total transactional marriage. I know that now. I wish I would have known that then, but
Wow.
it's yeah, totally. You're in a world of transaction, and
Hmm.
it is, yeah. And you could be there. I was grateful for the moments that I did have, right? I wish I could have done things a little bit differently, but I definitely grew into a very independent, strong, beautiful soul. Like
Hmm.
I can walk the streets of the town that I live in, which is like Mayberry. It's a beautiful downtown area and things like that. And baseball hat, no makeup on, sweatpants, and it's audacious to some to be out like that.
Mm.
For me, I'm like, nope, that's me. Yeah, it's me. Take it or leave it. That's up to you. I don't
Hmm.
care. I don't need validation. Yeah.
I have a friend, Felicity, who said they tend to paint red flags pink. So were there red flags that you ignored when, in the beginning when you went into that relationship?
Yep. Yes, I write about that. It's in both books. I did. I did. I saw the red flags and I stayed out of fear.
Mm.
The first red flag was like literally in my face, and I suggest people pick it up in the book to read it because I don't want to give too much detail, but I just happened to walk into infidelity, I'll say.
Ah.
And I literally am like, I just like the house I just left is sold. The job that I was just offered was six figures out in a different state. I denied it. My son and I just moved out here, and I'm like, I left do you understand? Like,
Wow.
I know. And I'm like, what do I do? I stuck out of fear. Out of fear.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So your first book, Pieces of Me, what do you want readers to come away with there? Why write it, Felicity?
Yeah. Why write it and why should you read it? Right.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for some inspiration on how do I persevere? How do I overcome obstacles? How do I keep going when life is just throwing me one shitstorm after another?
Mm.
Where do I find my direction? You know, how did she go from 220 pounds down to 110?
Mm.
You know, it's really about discipline and having faith and perseverance. And I'm telling you, like I've got like 9 or 10 lives.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, and finding that faith in God, I owe it all to Him, to be honest with you.
What if discipline wasn't about punishment, but about unlocking your best self? I spent 2.5 years writing Discipline for Greatness because discipline changed my life. And I know it can change yours too. This isn't theory. Inside, you'll find real, practical steps you can use immediately to focus better, build stronger habits, reduce stress, accomplish your goals, and bring more balance to your life. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your career, or simply feel more control, this book gives you the framework. Start today. Grab your copy of Discipline for Greatness at joeypinz.com/book. Thank you. But why put yourself through, reliving all that stuff and writing a book? I mean, nobody makes money writing books, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Amen.
I have one too. So, yeah, nobody makes money with it, but it's just why put yourself through it?
That's a great question. Um, it's a strong story. It's a powerful story.
Mm.
You get to watch the 10-year-old, the little girl named Wheezy,
Mm.
that was born into a family of just chaos and dysfunction and brokenness. You watch her grow and just figure out who she is based on all these narratives that were put on her. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. You're just not number one. You're never going to go anywhere. I
Mm.
had deans in my high school telling me she's going to be the one that's not going to go anywhere. When I spoke at that high school, I was like, "Where's my dean?" I mean, I literally called her out.
Hmm.
I'm like, "Is she here today?" Like, come on up. Love to give you a hug. Remember when you told me that I wasn't going to go anywhere? It was painful. There were moments at my editor because we had to do it via Zoom where she had to she held space for me more painful when we were going through the abandonment with my mom.
Mm.
But I got to tell you, it was so cathartic to be able to get that out and then be in therapy at the same time and to really understand and put it to rest.
Hmm.
Yes.
Describe your relationship, Felicity, with Jesus and with God.
It's important. I get the chills. I'm sorry. Because it's so important. He's been my foundation, right? Born, raised Catholic. We all know how that goes. It's just
Mm.
that system. I really didn't start to grow a spiritual relationship with him until I was ready to leave, like gaining that strength to leave my first marriage.
Hmm.
He was an abusive alcoholic. It was like either my life or I don't know what else. Um, I really, this past year in 2025, have finally understood like the reason why he's put me on this path. And I can't, like the
Hmm.
gratitude that I have for life itself. I can't thank him enough for everything and anything, the lessons, the hardships, the good times, the ups, the downs. Yes. So, I may not practice conventional, traditional in the box church religion. I still go to mass every, here or there. It's important. We're Catholic. I think, it's, there's just, the mass is beautiful in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, but I can't really say I got myself here.
Hmm.
He he got myself here. I'm not strong. He carried me through. Yeah, he really carried me through. I owe it all to him. Yeah.
You said that you realized recently that he put you on this path. What was that realization? How did you come to that understanding?
Oh, yes. I 2025 is my gap year, is what I say. I
Hmm.
took this year off to unpack everything that's happened. Um, I went through my second divorce, and just basically kind of sat on my sofa and just questioned. I questioned him. I questioned the why. I'm like, why would you keep doing this to me? You know, what am I supposed to learn from this? And it was about surrender. The divorce had nothing to do with it. It
Mm.
was just about surrendering
Mm.
into God. And
Mm.
then it was really about understanding, like, if you could just embrace like what I'm doing for you, right? Just let go, let me do everything, which then means everything is crumbling because it's not going the way I wanted. It's now developing into the way that God wanted it. But the most important thing that I walked away with this summer was if we can learn to find the joy amidst the suffering, because here on earth, our body we suffer. Our earthly bodies, we suffer. Everybody suffers. There's a lot of suffering here. But it's about finding the joy and the peace and the grace in the moments of that suffering. And that we then now are no longer the victim, but we are now the witness to our suffering. So
Hmm.
because I'm not allowing the suffering to be me, consume me. I'm just observing it. And that's really what I walked away with, and I have chills because that's definitely what I want to speak about. Like we are in the process of rewriting a speech, and I'm like 2026. I want to hit the
Hmm.
stages because I think that's by far one of the most important messages that we can't get enough of. You know, we're here for only a certain amount of time. Yeah, it's going to suck at times. It's going to be good at times, but I know that when we go home, it's eternal peace.
Mm.
You know,
Is suffering a choice?
good question. I do believe so. I do believe so. Yep. Um, Life is going to be hard. Life is going to be really, really hard. But if you're stuck in like that victim mindset, right? I believe you're going to suffer more.
Hmm.
But if you have that mentality of like, okay, today sucked. All right, I've had some setbacks, which is the witness. What are we going to do next? How do we move past this?
Mm.
It's taken me a while. And there comes a lot of gratitude with that.
Can never overstate how important gratitude is. Certainly in my world, I would hope in many. What's the difference between spirituality and religious?
Religion is, I think, brick and mortar. Religion is
Mm.
um, conforming, right? Religion is what you're taught to do, you're preached to do. Spirituality is understanding and realizing that the divine lives here in your heart.
Mm.
It's not in the church. I mean, yes, the Holy Spirit is, the Holy Spirit's everywhere, to be honest with you, but that you can connect to God here because He's here. He's here. He's everywhere. Holy Spirit's everywhere. It's in the
Mm.
wind. It's in the trees. That's the difference between spirituality. I know some people can get woo woo with it,
Mm.
but for me, it's just that very intimate relationship that we come home to self. This is coming home to God, which is here. Um, yeah.
And which are you? Or are you both?
I'm really more about here, but
Mm.
like I said, I do enjoy the mass, and the only reason why I enjoy the mass is I really enjoy when it comes time for uh, communion, because I
Yeah.
don't think people understand that in Catholicism they're reenacting the Last Supper, and if you get past like the boring music of the Catholic Church, right, and it's so how do I want to say it? It's like eating just a cheese sandwich or just a
Mm.
plain. It's like so like cheese with no mayonnaise. I don't know what you want to call it. It's just so
Sterile?
it is, yes. And I'm just like the music sucks. The homily is it's okay. I can get better homilies online somewhere else, but when it comes to just the part of communion where they start doing all that, to me, we're repeating the Last Supper, and then we're walking up, and I do believe it's the body and blood of Christ. You know, yeah. So it's atonement for our sins.
Mm.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I will pop in. I will pop in.
What will pop in? Oh,
I will pop into church. Yeah.
to
Every once
church.
in a
Oh,
while.
I
Yeah,
see.
I
I see.
will. Yeah, I will pop in. Yeah.
I consider myself. I want to continually learn. I want to grow, keep growing. I feel if I stop learning, I'm going to die. One of the reasons why I like doing this podcast. But you use a term that I really enjoy, and perhaps if you don't mind, I'll start to adopt, and that is continue to rise.
Yeah. Yes. Please do so. Knock yourself out. We have to. We have to continue to grow, to expand emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. Why keep ourselves stuck? Life wouldn't be fun. Life wouldn't be hard.
Mm.
You know, it's like the easy way out. Yeah. Why not
Okay.
challenge thought or theory, right?
Yes.
Come on, Joey.
Yes.
You're now you get that. Why not challenge
Absolutely.
thought or theory? Why not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
And
called
and
critical
have
thinking.
conversations and people that may not think the same. Good people can disagree and still talk. And
Exactly.
it's such an important we see so much polarization, unfortunately. Perhaps there's not as much as media likes to portray, but still it's there. But still good people can disagree. How has how, Felicity, how has motherhood reshaped you?
Oh, God, that's a wonderful question. I got to see how I want to approach this. Motherhood, because I come from a mom that was absent. I
Mm.
come from a mom that abandoned me. So there were points and times in my life that I had to understand that and recognize that I was doing that to my son. Um,
Mm.
and I admit that in the book that I was like, whoa, I'm not emotionally available for him. That was hard. That's humble. It's been a challenge. I will say that. You know, he's a beautiful, young, bright, strong, talented boy. It's gonna be 18 in January. I can't wait to go out and celebrate and say I fucking did it. Like,
Hmm.
but at the core, I hope it's nothing. It's hard for me to put into words because
Mm.
I've had a different experience and I can't share it yet, unfortunately, because, out of respect for my son. Okay. Um, all I can say is that we have a special bond, him and I have been his only person in his corner his entire life. He's had two fathers walk away from him. And to see your 17-year-old son cry
Mm.
and say, I have another dad that walked away from me. It sucks. It sucks. And to be dragged all over the country for baseball, of course, it sucks on my end. You know what I mean? But you do it because that's his passion and he's good at it. And I know that one day I'm going to see him on a mound, whether it's AAA or the MLB. And I can say that because he's just like me. He
Hmm.
did it. He did it. He's very determined. Yeah. Yeah. But he is a very strong minded, oppositional, defiant boy. So um, it's very black and white with him. But he's very disciplined. He's very, very disciplined and determined, which I like to see. Not a lot of kids like him have that drive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think your motherhood experience would have been different if it was a daughter?
Yes. Yes, I do. I lost a daughter. Um, I do. I do. I wonder what it would be like to be a girl mom. I get to spoil my friends. I have little ones that are girls. I think, you're going to have the drama that comes with girls. I'm probably assuming that she would have turned out like me. And I would have realized like why my mom was like, just saw fucking Felicity.
Mm.
Uh, I don't know. I think if we just come from the place of just unconditional love, which is really what I've been working on over the past decade or so with him, is just learning to just not be so triggered because we would trigger each other and just come from a place of unconditional love. Like,
Mm.
I gotta go. I gotta walk away for a minute. I gotta, you know, recoup, regain, because it drains your energy. You get frustrated. You want to lash out. It's been him and I the whole entire time.
Mm.
And yes, there's been men in the picture, but they've been what you call the teacher. I'm the principal, you know. And then you're saying he's a strong-willed kid.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I do think it might have been different with a girl, but God gives you what we have.
Mm.
He gave me him for a reason. And Doug's taught me, or Evans taught me. I changed his name um,
Hmm.
for story purposes only. He's taught me some of the most beautiful and hardest lessons as I have with him, and I know he's going to be a complete success
Hmm.
in life. Yeah, he's a very smart, smart man.
I have two daughters, and they're in their 20s. And, while I'm no longer with their mother, I couldn't ask for a better mother for our daughters. And I can never really appreciate the connection of motherhood, of course, because there's that obvious connection there. So I always try to gain an appreciation from a woman's perspective on that, and it's always wonderful. It's always wonderful, Felicity.
Yes, I envy that, to be honest with you. I haven't had that opportunity, and that's all I'll
Mm.
say. Um, I haven't had that opportunity to be that soft, loving, caring mother. He's had one friend, that I can remember thanking his mom for, because he would come over and he would put me into that mode.
Hmm.
He would put me into that energy, and I would always thank his mom. I said, I think I gotta tell you, your son is great because he allows me to be that soft,
Hmm.
nurturing mom. He's not on the defense. He's not wanting to argue. He's just, you know. So I haven't experienced that part of motherhood.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I always knew. The other question is, if I had sons, I was an athlete all my life. I think I would have been harder on sons, but I had daughters, and I love them more than anything. But I do wonder if, yeah, how different it would be with sons. But as far as love, what changed was I didn't know that I could have this much capacity for love. I knew I'd always love my daughters, but I didn't realize the unlimited boundaries and the capacity that was available there. That's one of the things I discovered that I relish.
I would
And
agree.
yourself?
Yeah, would agree. No matter how, yeah, yeah. And it's going to be like that forever.
Mm,
You know that. You're a dad.
yeah,
No matter how old they are.
that's right.
Our job is what number? It's never done.
Mm,
Um, I think we're always going to be concerned and worried that they make their right decisions, but I'm not a helicopter parent.
mm,
Not a helicopter parent. Sometimes we have to carve out our own paths. I can give you guidance and support, which I do, but at the end of the day, you're going to make your own decision, and that's on you, buddy. I'm just going to let you know that it may be a little bit hard. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and by the way, I know what you're thinking. You don't have to worry. My daughters, they look like their mother. So I have a question for you. Has there been anything in the last month or so that you've changed your mind on, Felicity?
Yes, yes. I, obviously going through this whole summer of surrendering and letting God kind of take over, I kind of realized that everything that I was building or built or wanted to do just kind of crumbled.
Hmm.
Completely pivoting, pivoting my degrees, yeah, just pivoting in life in general,
Hmm.
and I'm okay with it. Yeah, um, going pre-law with my master's.
Wow.
Yeah, just going from therapy to attorney. It's like night and day. Realizing that what you said, you're not going to make money on writing books.
Hmm.
That was hard to swallow. That's hard to swallow. But that was one of the biggest things that I accepted, was like, okay, you know what? I did it. I did it. I published a magazine, a brand. I wrote 2 books. I did it. I accomplished it. Okay, I got it. Time to put that away. What's this new season going to look like? And I feel like Elle Woods, it's like, oh, going to law school.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So your revelation is not always to keep the path forward of what you design. It's to be able to make adjustments and pivot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If we don't, man, that would be hard to stay like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, if I tried to stay so in control, I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have in our own personal lives, is that we have that need for control, right?
Hmm.
And why is that? Is because internally we don't feel like we're struggling with that need for control. I'd go insane, Joe, if I tried to control, because I'm telling you, like, if it's not blatantly slapped in my face this summer, like, this part of your life is done, put it away. That is no longer you. You are not that woman anymore. You are going to be this woman. You are the observer to your story. You are the one that's going to spread my word through your story.
Hmm.
You're going to be going this way. Yeah. Which may be, a 9 to 5 job. And I'm okay with that while I go to school. It may be hitting the road and continuing to speak, and while I continue to go to school, but it's like going to help people in a different way.
Felicity, is
Yeah.
there a question that you wished more people would ask you?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Hmm.
Huh, right? Just a basic like, how are you doing? Like, how you doing? Because I've had people text me just more or less like, so how are you adjusting?
Hmm.
You know? And I'm like, oh, come on. All right. So you got to go.
Hmm.
You know, I'm like, all right, you got to go. You know, they're more or less concerned about like, how are you adjusting from the lifestyle? Fine. You had a beautiful home, you know, but how am I doing? I'll respond back with, you know, I'm getting through it.
Hmm. That's a tough one. How are you doing? Because yeah, it can be surface level, but it also could be so deep, can it?
Hmm. You really see who your real people are in your
Hmm.
corner. Yeah, that's the one thing I opened my eyes to because I lost everybody this year.
Right.
I lost everybody except for three people.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like to ask, how can I help? Sometimes it comes across though as disingenuous, but I mean it. And I also think, depending on their answer, well, you can let me borrow $1 million, or um, just reaching out helped a lot. Thank you. So depending on their response, I can make a move of the next point. So I find myself asking that question a lot, and seldom it being taken advantage of. How do you feel about that question? How can I help?
So I think that's a beautiful question. And I've experienced people respond with, you know, could I borrow?
Right.
And I'm like, damn. I'm like, seriously? Like, you're asking me that? Like, you know, is it your house start on fire? You know, are you guys homeless? Like, what's the deal? And it's just something superficial. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, no. But as simple as, you know what, just say a prayer for me
Right.
and my son. That's it. That's
Mm,
usually how I would respond,
mm,
you know? And
mm,
I think it's just, yeah. Usually people are just like that as well, too. Just keep us in our prayers. Yeah.
mm. So I'm a little bit older than you, Felicity, and I think we're both Generation X, but I'm at the other end. I'm in my late 50s, and I started my business in the 90s, and I was working way too hard and not paying attention to myself and putting exercise in the back. And next thing I know, I'm at the doctor, and she tells me I'm at 340 pounds. Now, you said you were up to 220. I was, at a very unacceptable, unhealthy weight. I was a 46-inch waist, and it was a shocking blow to hear this. But the next statement was the biggest, and she said, if you don't, lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. And so my oldest was just born, scared the life out of me. It didn't motivate me. It got me upset. And so, driving home, punching the steering wheel, I said, I can abuse myself all I want, Felicity, but I have this family now. It's much bigger than me. So I spent the next 6, 7 months, lost about 130 pounds and kept it off. You can't look at these things like finishing lines, right? These are lifelong changes that you have to adopt. And when I tell people this, they're quick to say, what's your secret, what you do? And I say, there's no secret, just discipline, right? Routine, willpower, focus. How does discipline play a role in your life, Felicity?
Mm, amen to that.
Mm.
Um, because I fasted for 4 or 5 days and still
Wow.
cooked for a family every night.
Huh.
Yeah. Um, Discipline is in pretty much every area of your life, right? So if you want to go somewhere, succeed in something, we have to be what? Disciplined.
Mm.
Yes. For me, I'm just going to put it in the aspect of my weight loss journey as well too, my transformational journey as well. I very disciplined, understanding that this isn't just about weight loss, but this is about the longevity of my life. This is about not having a heart attack like my mom did at the age of 50 because I'm pushing 50. It's not about me being a pack and a half a day smoker because at one point I was, and I
Mm.
quit 4 or 5 years ago. It's about being a role model for my son and showing him that, you know, hey, yes. we can be disciplined. And it's really paid off. Because him and I would go to the gym together when he was little. And so now he's in the gym more than I am. I go
Wow.
downstairs in my basement and he's, at the gym every day. Yeah. And we both like to challenge each other. He likes, I'm up, as I say, as a mom, I'm up to 15 man push-ups.
Huh.
And he's like, okay, mom, whatever. Do a pull-up and we'll talk. But it
He's
is,
not impressed.
yes. It's the quality of life that you're wanting to lead. So do you want to lead a life out of gluttony, right? Just overindulging in everything, food and just life. I see it everywhere. We overindulge. Too many cars, expensive, just everything. Or do you want to appreciate the value behind the simplicity of life and understanding why God gave you this body and the importance of it being a temple, which people don't understand and be through alcohol and drugs and sex and food and, yeah.
So as a child in that household that you were in, was discipline ever talked about? Was it exemplified? Was it discouraged?
I don't think it existed.
Hmm.
And I honestly don't. We all ran different lives. I mean, she would discipline us, but I don't remember. My mom just had this look. And all you had to do was give that look. She was a very strong woman. And the look said enough.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I don't remember because my older brother was able to do whatever he wanted. And I'm just like, my God, I can't imagine if my son were to like host house parties or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Just like crazy teenage stuff, right?
Yes.
I just there's some things I think about and I'm like, how did she allow this to get just allow to happen underneath her roof? Because I consider it completely wrong. But it was just something that's been kind of taught to me as I've gone through life. We got to be structured. We've got to be disciplined. You want a job, you want a promotion, you're going to work a little bit harder and smarter. Yeah. Which means you're going to arrive a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you have to arrive a little earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something that you believed in heavily, entirely about 10 years ago that you completely disbelieve now?
Yes. Is there a happily ever after? No. Is there a happily ever after?
Back then, you didn't think there was?
10 years ago, I was walking into a second marriage with rose-colored glasses, thinking that I had my happily ever after. There's my fairy tale. And, moving forward, it's like, I think we create that ourselves. We don't have to have that created for us through somebody, if that makes any sense. So that's the biggest thing that I've kind of walked away with over the past 10 years is that I had to take off those rose-colored glasses and see life for what it really is and learn to create my happily ever after through my own eyes.
And you're continuing to rise. What motivates you?
I'm a growth mindset person. I like a challenge. That motivates me. When somebody tells me that I can't do something, hold my beer and watch me. Yeah. I also just like to internally challenge myself. Like, can I really do this? That was all about the cello. Just the stubborn side of me being a Gemini. Yeah.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypins.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. So given that motivation, Felicity, just kind of, I hear impact, I hear, disproving, negative people. How do you measure success?
I can't measure it off of other people, man, or we're going to feel like failures, right? I measure my success through my own eyes. Like I just said a little bit earlier, coming to the acceptance of like, you know what? I did write 2 books. I did publish a brand, develop a brand. I did it. Even though some people may laugh, which they did, and say, some bad things about it. I did it. I did it. I did it while I was almost dying a couple times too. Yeah. I measure success just through me. You can't compare yourself to others. You know that. You're going to constantly feel like you're not good enough. No. I may admire, I'll admire their success. I may take pointers from what they're doing. Yeah, but I won't compare. Yeah. Or we're constantly on that hamster wheel, chasing something that we're never going to grab that carrot.
So do you self-survey often? Am I a success? Is this successful?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really do. That's not all the time though. Yeah. I think it's just at those moments where you're feeling like, okay, all right, if I'm pivoting, which I am now, right? This is a big pivot. Is this a right pivot? And why am I pivoting? And it was just blatantly just loud as could be. Yeah. You did it. Time to move on. Yeah.
Can be very
you raised
rewarding.
A kid. I'm 48, 49 in May. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I'm 49 in May and I'm starting over. I'm rebuilding. So I'm telling you people, if I can rebuild as many times that I have, right? It's possible. It's possible. You just have to accept some things that, you may not want to do, like the punch in, punch out world. Like maybe I have to do that for a little bit. I don't know. It gets me out of the house. That's more or less what I'm thinking, hanging the hat on my business when it comes to working as a healer and seeing my clients, that was hard, but I don't have the mental capacity to want to do that anymore. It's not feeding my soul anymore. So then it's like, okay, now where is the income going to come from? So yeah.
Rediscovering and pivoting.
Yeah, we just pivot. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's called life. Not everybody's meant to be a superstar. They may try to portray it on Instagram, but right. I'm telling, but it's the reality of it is not everybody's meant to be a superstar. And that's okay. That's fucking okay.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. Well, I find you very inspiring. I find you genuine, and been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm so glad we spoke today. I get great energy and a sense of drive from you, and I appreciate that, and I applaud it. Anybody watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Mailwoman, mailman, mailwoman. Sorry about that. So if they want to find me, they can obviously go to felicitynicole.com. There you can find everything from just my books to maybe what I'm currently doing, um, which is school and animals and being a mom. But that's it. My
Thank you so much.
Instagram, Felicity_Nicole. Yeah.
That's right. Yep, that'll be
Yep.
there as well. You also have, oh no, I'm sorry. You have She is Young Mag.
There is the She Is You, but that's something that I've kind of, like I said, like I did it. So there's a lot that's being put away.
Mm,
Yeah. Maybe it'll come out again down the road. Who knows? You know? Yeah. It's just time for a new journey.
good for you. Well, I appreciate your time. Next time I'm in the general Illinois area, perhaps we'll get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea.
Yes, I'm right outside Chicago.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time. You be well.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.